guys, I am back with another video. This time it won't be a tutorial. I actually wanted to get a little bit more personal since I don't really get to get too personal on YouTube. If you follow me on Instagram and Snapchat, you've probably known what I've been up to the past couple months, but for any of you that follow me on here, you probably don't. I also wanted to do a video on something that I've been wanting to share with you guys, but I've been waiting for the right time. It's nothing crazy, not having a baby or getting married, but just something that I've been really excited to do a video on, especially for anybody that is trying to get into the hair and makeup industry. But first I will get to the more personal side of what I've been up to. So I went to IMATS back in January and that was fun. I went to Pro Night. It was a lot more laid back since it's more people in the makeup and hair industry going, so I definitely stocked up on stuff that I really needed for my kit for all of my brides and all my clients like their makeup done. Pro Night for IMATS was on Friday and then the NYX after party was on Saturday. So I went to the NYX after party with Pipsqueak, or some of you may know her as April, but she got invited, so I was her plus one, and it's always fun just because there's so many other artists in the industry that I always follow on social media or see their work on social media. But yeah, I went to that, and the other fun part about that is the free alcohol and hors d'oeuvres. That's what I really like about going there. But yeah, it's always a fun time. So after that trip, 2 weeks later I went back down to LA and finally had a vacation over in Big Bear, and then we went to Disneyland and I got proposed to, so I'm officially engaged now. And that was just like a quick little trip, and then the following week I turned 30, so I am pretty old. I'm pretty sure from what it sounds like from other people who normally think I'm way younger than I am. But yeah, I didn't just turn 30. I turned 30 back in February. And then I just got back last night from Disneyland. It was Dapper Day this weekend, and it just happened to be the only weekend that I have off this month, so I took advantage of it, went down there, and I definitely want to do some Dapper Day inspired looks. If you haven't been to Dapper Day, it's really fun. I actually didn't get to go yesterday, or this probably won't get uploaded the day that I'm filming it, so it would have been Sunday. I didn't get to go on Sunday for the actual Dapper Day, but the Dapper Day Expo was the whole weekend, so I went on Saturday, bought some cool stuff. It's just so much fun to see all the people dressed up. I didn't really get to dress up since I didn't have enough time to grab anything, but I put together just like a little outfit. But other than that, I've just been working. That's pretty much it. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably see my work. I try to post stuff here and there of what I'm doing, especially anything that's new. I try to post on there. And I'm trying to get better at doing makeup looks. But it is hard, especially like with working and stuff. And then I'm pretty sure you guys can see I have a new little spot, a little new makeup spot. So the main reason why I wanted to do this video is I just hit 10 years of being a licensed cosmetologist. I've taken a small amount of breaks in between doing hair just to kind of figure out what I want to do, which every time I've stopped doing hair, I end up running back because I'm like, oh my god, I hate working in the real world. Like, I hate it. I do not like working a 9 to 5. I don't like people tell me what to do, but I've been doing this since I was straight out of high school. So I went straight out of high school into cosmetology school. The backstory of it, of how I got into doing hair and makeup and why I wanted to go to school, wasn't because I was really good at it growing up or anything. I wore makeup in high school, but I kind of did my own thing of what I liked. Sometimes I would get made fun of, but I really didn't care. It's my style. It's my way of expressing myself. Hair, if you knew me back then, my hair was always slicked back into a ponytail, or sometimes I'd wear it down, but my hair was so long that I'd get caught and stuff. I wasn't allowed to cut my hair back then, and I hated it. I absolutely hated having long hair. Now it's longer, but it's nowhere near as long as it was back then. What got me started is actually the music scene that I was into. Oddly enough, you wouldn't think that you'd put hair and music together, but so the music scene that I was into at the time, there's a band that I'm sure a lot of you know about. They're called Fall Out Boy. I got into them before they got really big, and I'm so glad that I did, because if I hadn't, I wouldn't be where I'm at now, oddly enough. They put out an album called Take This to Your Grave, and on it was a song called Grenade Jumper. Of course, at that time, they weren't as popular. When I went to see them, there was like a handful of people that knew the songs. Nobody was really there to really see them at that time. And they had a forum on their website, which again was a very small group of people. And they had talked about Hey Chris. And so of course I'm lurking and I'm like, all right, well, cool. He has a live journal, which if you don't know what a live journal is, it's a blog similar to Tumblr, but it was like the old school version. So I'm forever thankful for stumbling across his live journal, just because he's, for me, he was a good person to look up to. He posted a lot about just like self-motivation, and being 17, that's probably like what I needed to read the most. I was a little rebel, but I wasn't a rebel in the fact that I was out partying. I was a rebel in the fact that I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and it was going to be something more positive for myself. I started reading more and more of his posts, found out he's a hairstylist, and then what really set everything off for me is he posted about a band, one of the members of a band called Bleeding Through, who I liked a lot. And when he posted about it, he was talking about how he was a hairstylist and how he told him that he gets to tour 6 months out of the year and gets to make his own schedule and do all this stuff and still have a job. So I was like, that's what I want. I don't want somebody telling me what time I need to go to work, or if I want to get off at a certain time, I want to get off. If I want the weekends off, I want the weekends off. So that's when I started looking into cosmetology school. I was already, since I had read this post way ahead of time before I graduated, I was able to find out all the information that I needed to get into school. And of course there's a waiting list because I did go to community college. I got onto the waiting list and everything and managed to make it in the first semester that I was out of high school. So I had like a month off between high school and going straight into cosmetology school. And it was one of the best decisions that I've ever made. So there's only like a short period of time where I haven't really done hair. That was just to try to kind of figure myself out, and I ran straight back to wanting to do hair after I realized how much I hate being told what to do and not being able to go on vacation when I want to, or having to ask for vacation. So it made me go straight back to doing hair. I've been doing hair for 10 years now. And I've been doing makeup professionally for the past 4 years. I also worked for Smashbox Cosmetics for the past 3 years. So I've gotten a lot of training through them, and then just learning on my own, trying new techniques out on people, like especially clients that I'm like, hey, you want your makeup done? Stuff like that. So I've definitely kind of self-taught when it comes to some makeup stuff, but I've also got some training in my background with makeup. Part of the reason why I also wanted to do this video is I always have people asking me questions, especially people that are trying to get into the field, like going to school for cosmetology, or after they graduate they're not too sure what to do. So I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to share like some tips. I know I haven't been in school for 10 years, but I would think that some of these would apply for school. So one of the main things that you don't want to do when you're in school, which I'm going to tell you things that I did. I'm giving you tips for the things that I did wrong in school that I should have done. But I still managed to graduate school a little bit earlier than I was supposed to. But some of these tips will definitely help. So you don't want to miss any days. So you want to think of it as, if you want to make money and you want to make money as fast as you can, you want to make sure you don't miss any days of school, because every day that you miss, those are extra hours that you have to make up somewhere throughout the time that you're going to school. So the less hours that you miss, the more closer you are to graduating and closer you are to making money. I know I like to make money and I would not want to be stuck in school more than I needed to. The other tip that I have is your operations. When you're doing operations, do as many as you can. Figure out what is going to take you the longest to do and do those first. The operations part is probably the hardest. I know I was still doing operations till the last day of school. I hated nails and I saved those for the last day, and I was like trying to bust through doing a whole bunch of acrylic nails. Still to this day, do not do acrylic nails. So you definitely want to keep track of your operations and make sure that you're doing as many as you can, that if you're on a schedule of how many you need to do a week, make sure that you're doing them. That way it's less time that you're still in school, because you can't graduate school if you're not done with your operations. And the operations are like stuff like haircuts, perms, color. You have to do so many of them before you can graduate. Just remember, you're there for the education. You're not really there to make friends. Girls can be really catty, especially in school, because you have girls from all ages. You have girls that are like 16, because you can legally be 16 and have your GED and go to cosmetology school. You've grown women in there, and grown women can be just as catty as somebody that's 16, 17, 18. So just remember, if you make friends and you have a falling out, you're not there for them. You're there for your education and for your future. So just push them to the side. Really. You don't need people that are starting drama. I still talk to some of the girls that I went to school with, but we all work at different salons. Some of us actually even work like close to each other, like in the same area. You get older, you grow up, and work comes first, and your families. So I don't have a lot of time to really hang out with people other than like people that I'm really close to. But that's not to say that you won't be best friends with somebody that you went to school with, because there's a lot of girls that I know from school that are still really close to other girls that we went to school with. Don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't make money in this industry. I've heard people tell me before, and it's like one of the most insulting things to me is to have somebody tell me like, oh, I thought about doing it, but you know, you can't really make money. Or, oh, my parents think that it's not a real job. It is a real job. I work multiple days a week. Sometimes, right now, this is like my slow week, which is why I'm able to do this right now. But normally, I'll have weeks where I work 7 days a week for 2 to 3 weeks. I have weddings booked. I have clients booked in the salon. Sometimes I don't even want to say sometimes. A lot of times my clients are color correction, so I'll be with a client for 6 to 8 hours, depending on what we're doing, how much work has to be put into their hair. And those are clients that you charge hourly for. So I've calculated it, and I make sure that I'm at least making more than I made at my old full-time job where I was a receptionist, and I worked 40 hours a week. I can make the same amount of money and not work 40 hours a week. Not to say that I wouldn't work 40 hours a week, because when I'm busy, I try to stay busy. If that means that I have to work 2-3 weeks in a row with no days off, I don't take days off. I might leave a little bit earlier, schedule myself so that I can have a little bit time to kind of relax at home. But when it comes to work and booking clients, I don't skimp around that. Lately, I have had to this past couple of months, just because I have gotten sick. I had pneumonia for a while, and that kind of was like my trigger of, hey, your body needs rest and you can't work 3 weeks with no days off. So I at least try to take 1 day off. But yeah, I am the type of person that I won't take any days off if I don't have to. It's normally my body that tells me I have to. So towards the end of school, you're able to pre-apply to take your license. I always recommend pre-applying. You do have to pay for it. But if you don't pre-apply and you wait until after you get out of school to get your license, it takes about 3 months before you can get in. I wouldn't want to wait 3 months after I went to school to go take a test and have to study and make sure I know everything and I didn't forget anything. So that's like the better reason to pre-apply is normally when you pre-apply, you get your test date, and your test date is within a couple weeks after you graduate school, so everything's still fresh. And then you get done sooner. You get your license as soon as you get your license as soon as you take the test for state board, and then you get to go work in the salon. So I'd rather do that than wait 3 months. And I know there are some people can't afford it, but that is my tip for that, is to pre-apply if you can. So here are some tips for after you get out of school and you have your license. The first salon that I worked at, the manager that was working there actually quit before I even started, but she had made sure that the new manager that was working there knew to hire me when I started. And I had the manager that I had originally talked to before she quit. I had met up with her at a party, and she had told me, you know, your first year is going to be your hardest year. Make it through your first year before you decide if you don't like it or not. So I went a whole year with doing hair at the salon. I didn't assist or anything. I jumped straight into it. I made so many mistakes, but the one thing, which anybody's going to make mistakes their first year. Like, you're working with all kinds of hair, different clients that you've never, like, personality-wise have probably ever worked with, and you're very close to people. For me, I'm not somebody that's very close to people outside of work. When I'm at work, yeah, but when I'm outside of work, no, not nearly as close as I am to my clients. So you're getting to learn different personalities, trying to have like the best customer service, but at the same time you're learning. If you make mistakes, the best thing to do is to learn from them instead of being scared and thinking like, oh, I ruined this person's hair, or they hated their hair. The best thing you can do is ask somebody. Like, make sure you're at a salon where you're going to learn from other hairstylists and they're not going to put you down. They're going to give you constructive criticism and help you out. And then there's a lot of times where you see something and you're like, you know what, next time I need to blend this better, or, you know, maybe next time I should do a little bit of tweaking of the colors. Like, I don't really like that color combination. And then the other thing, like, if your client doesn't like their hair, don't take it personally. Just figure out a way to fix it. When you can figure out a way to fix things, it becomes much more easier for you. There's still times where I have clients that it's just like one little minor thing that needs to be fixed. And you know what? I tell them, like, hey, if you want me to fix it, just let me know. We'll book you in as soon as I can, and we'll do that one little tweak to fix it, and then it looks amazing. And that doesn't just come in handy for yourself, but it comes in handy if you have a client that tells you like, hey, I went to another salon, they messed my hair up. It makes it easier for you to fix things and for you to tell them what needs to be done to fix that problem. And yeah, your first year, you're going to make so many mistakes. But if you can make it through that first year, learn from your mistakes, by the time your second year rolls around, you're going to be way better than you were the first year. And every year, it's just going to keep getting better and better and better. You're going to learn product knowledge. You're going to learn what color lines you like, what colors from those lines that are more what your clientele likes. You'll figure out color formulations, all sorts of stuff. Because believe me, when I was in school, I was the one that was always scared and I didn't want to do color or anything. So it sucked for me when I got out into salon where I was on the floor and had to come up with all these color formulations and figure things out. So you'll constantly be learning something, whether it's when you first start to even now. For me, I'm still learning stuff. But as long as you stick with it, don't freak out if you mess somebody's hair up the first time that you're doing it. It's natural, it's gonna happen, but just learn from your mistakes. When you are first starting out, there's options of what you can do. You can assist. That way you're learning before you really get into the salon by yourself. So assisting is definitely a good route to go if you're really scared that you're not going to know what you're doing as soon as you get out of the salon. I never really thought about that when I first got out of school, but you can definitely assist. That helps too, because a lot of if you're with somebody like a hairstylist that is really good with helping their assistants learn, you'll probably learn a lot, especially if it's a hairstylist that tends to be really, really busy and does a lot of color. You're going to learn a lot from them. So you can rent, but coming out of school, if you don't have a clientele, it's going to take you a while to gain clientele. I want to say it took me a good year to gain a good amount of clients. So what I did is, instead of renting right away, I went to a corporate salon. So a corporate place would be like Supercuts, Regis, Sports Clips, stuff like that. So I actually went to a salon that was owned by Regis, and I started out hourly there, and then you have the option of doing commission once you're able to make more than you do hourly, which is really hard, especially when you're starting out. But because like if it was slow and I didn't have a client, I was still making money hourly, so I didn't have to worry about that. That's another thing. That's what I did personally. I probably would have assisted for a while before doing that, but like I said, I didn't really think anything about that and I jumped straight into it. Luckily, the salon that I was at, everybody was willing to help. There were amazing people that knew a lot about color and also tried to help me out with color, so that helped a lot. So the other thing that you can do if you're coming straight out of school and going to salon and you're not too sure like about making money, like if you're not making a lot of money at first, the other thing you can do is get a part-time job. For some reason I decided to have 2 part-time jobs on top of working full-time at the salon that I was at the time, where I was making hourly pay. But that is another option, is to work like a part-time job. A lot of hairstylists when they start out do waitressing, just because you're getting tips on top of getting paid hourly. But if you stick into this industry, it's an amazing industry. I rent full time. I make my own schedule. I pretty much just go in when I have clients. I don't really go in too often when I don't have clients, just because a lot of times when I do go in and I'm like, all right, I'll wait around, I'll hang out, see if anybody comes in, and nobody comes in. So that's normally the time where I clean and do stuff that I need to do when I can't get to stuff on really busy days at the salon. I don't have to ask anybody for vacation time. I take vacation when I want. I take how many days off I want. If it all just depends on me and scheduling my clients around what I have going on. So those are really all of the tips that I have. It's an amazing industry to be in. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, so just know that there is money to be made. There's all sorts of things that you can get into besides working at a salon. There's tons of opportunities, different opportunities. But I just wanted to share a little bit about myself, what got me into my career, and what's helped me make it through the past 10 years. I think that's something to be pretty proud of. Not everybody is able to make it, but just remember that your hard work will pay off if you do stick with doing this. It's an amazing industry, amazing career to have. Not many people can say, like, I play with people's hair and faces for a living, so I think that's pretty cool. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Thank you for tuning in and I guess listening to me talk about myself. So thanks, guys. Also, definitely check out Chris's stuff. Chris is an amazing person. He writes books. He does clothing for his publishing company. He's on Instagram. He still has his blogs. He has a website. So he also has the cat cave going on. It hasn't opened yet, but I thought it was pretty cool to talk about. But it'll be a rescue for cats, and you can adopt them. But at the same time, there's going to be arcade games, so I don't think you could ask for anything much better than that. I would definitely love to do that, or to go there eventually. But that'll be in Chicago. I'll post all the information for all of his social media stuff on here. Just because he's been such a major part of my life growing up, that I always like to shout out people that have helped along the way. So I'll post all of his stuff up. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions or anything, you can always leave comments, email me, message me on my social media accounts. And I will see you guys again, hopefully soon. I'm going to try to make it soon, especially since I have a little spot to do makeup now. So I'll see you guys around.